Hey guys, so today we're going to be making a video, or you're going to be watching a video, on GuapSwap's latest version for their beta release, which is version 1.0.0. We're going to be going through a walkthrough of basically how to set it up really fast, the existing features, and the new features. Anyways, if you don't know what GuapSwap is, it is a profit swapping program on the Ergo blockchain that you can use to auto swap your mining profits from Erg over to a token of your choice. And the advantages of this is that it lowers your total taxable events that actually hit your wallet. So your first step is going to be to go to github.com/GuapSwap, and you're going to see that there are three different programs here. There's GuapSwap, GuapSwap Ronin, and Payday. We're not going to worry about Payday at the moment, although you can go ahead and look at that if you're curious. So what we want to talk about is GuapSwap and GuapSwap Ronin. So GuapSwap Ronin is a solo mining version of GuapSwap that has a different API URL, and it'll basically have it auto set up so GuapSwap will use your own node, right? So this is assuming you're solo mining. And by the way, keep an eye out. We're probably going to have a video on how to set up your own node in case somebody's curious about that, so that you can run GuapSwap Ronin if you want. So we're going to go ahead and click on GuapSwap here, and we're going to go over to Releases, and you're going to see GuapSwap CLI version 1.0 beta. Should be said before you download the newest GuapSwap version, if you are running the older version, CLI version 0.1.0 beta, the new proxy contracts for the newer version are not going to be compatible. So I want you to go ahead and make sure that you get all your payouts for those contracts before you actually move on to the newest version of GuapSwap. So this has some new features. The automatic swap, which if you had watched the last video, we could only do the one type swap. The automatic swap now works. This checks the blockchain every 1 hour for your proxy contract, and it'll basically continue to check it until you've gotten a payout, and then it'll automatically do the swap so it hits your wallet. Well, I'll go ahead and show you how to change it if you want to check different time besides 1 hour. You can now list all the EUTXOs in the given proxy address, so you can see how many actual boxes you have. They've added Neta and ErgoPad, so you can now swap any existing token that's currently on ErgoDex, and they've added a default node URL, so you can go ahead and change that node URL. They've gone ahead and fixed some bugs here, and you can go ahead and read over that. And they've added a useful link to this YouTube channel so you can find walkthroughs. So if we want to download the newest version, we're going to go ahead and go to Assets here, and we're going to download the source code, right? By the way, all links that are included in here are going to be in the description down below. And we're going to go ahead and save it. It should be mentioned that if you don't have Java on your computer, and this is the first time that you're hearing about GuapSwap, you're going to want to go to Java, and you're going to want to download Java, and you're going to want to download the SE development kit. Right, and they got some different options to download it. I'm not going to go over how to install that, but I am going to just say you're going to need that in order to run GuapSwap. So we're going to go ahead and, apparently download this twice, we're going to go ahead and open the folder that you download GuapSwap to. We're going to go ahead and copy that, and I'm just going to run it to an easy to remember directory for my main folder, and we're going to extract that here. Just extract all is fine. And it'll auto-open it, but it should be right there. I'll go ahead and delete the zip. I like to keep my things clean. And you're going to see GuapSwap 1.0.1. So assuming you already have Java installed, you're going to go ahead and click into this. So once you're in the main GuapSwap folder, go ahead and look at the README file. And here is where you're going to see some basic information, right? So we have the KYA, which is going to tell you to use it at your own risk, obviously, since it's a beta. Your funds could be lost. You know, obviously if anything bad happens, it's not GuapSwap's responsibility. Yeah, so go ahead and look over, here we can go ahead and full screen this. It's got the usage steps, usage warning, please use at least one erg. It's got the available commands, it's got the available token tickers, so they're all right here with the correct capitalization. And then it's got a list of pool compatibility. So yeah, just while you're in the main folder, go ahead and look at the README file and then move on to the storage file. This is your config file for GuapSwap. So what you're going to need to add here is you're going to need to add a user address, right? This is where your eventual token that has been swapped for is going to go. So this is where you add your public key, and here's that public key. So that is probably the most important part, because if you forget that, you're going to get all sorts of errors and it's not going to run. So you can see that here's the protocol fee, which GuapSwap takes, which is just 0.25%. There's a UI fee for a UI in the future that isn't here. And here's the protocol mining fee. So you really don't want to mess with the mining fee too much. You could probably turn it down a little bit if you're brave, but it might be a little bit slower for it actually to be picked up by the miners. Right here is where the swap interval in hours is. It's set to 1. You could set that to, you know, check every 2 hours or 3 hours. Really, the idea is that if you're doing auto swaps, you're probably already mining on your computer. So you would leave this open to mine, you know, to do the swaps automatically on a computer that's mining. They have some DEX settings. So right here you have the swap asset ticker. This is where you're going to put in your asset that you want to swap for. So we're going to go ahead and just type in Ergo pad. Actually, yeah, we'll just type in Ergo pad for this demonstration. It should be mentioned that you're going to need the same case sensitivity that you would find for the ticker on Ergo DEX, right? So if you don't get that right, you're probably going to get an error. So I would look at that like first thing if you get any related errors to your config file. So what you can do is you can go ahead and go to Ergo DEX, right, and you can just go ahead and look at the tokens that are available for swapping with Ergo, and you'll see the correct capitalization so that you can get this inputted right so that the program can pick it up. So the only other thing that I want to talk about in the configuration file is that you're going to see your API URL here, and this is what changes for it to go to your own node. So right now it's going to a public node at this URL here. So once you've got this changed, we'll go ahead and close it, and we'll save the changes. So while we're in here, we're going to see that there are some logs right in the storage area. We have the proxy log, so this is where you would go to actually see the proxy addresses that have been generated with a timestamp for them. You have a refund log, so this is going to give you the transaction IDs for your refunds that you can actually take onto Ergo Explorer and look up the transaction ID. And we have the same thing with the swap log, so this will actually give you all your swap IDs so you can look them up on Ergo Explorer and make sure they're going through. So once you've changed your config file, you're going to go ahead and back up. You can go ahead and we can type in PowerShell into our search bar, and we can run PowerShell from there. And this is actually interesting, PowerShell pops up blue on Windows. Or if you make a shortcut for PowerShell on your desktop and you can click it, it pops up black. So to get this running, all you have to do is you're going to go ahead and copy the address here. We're going to type cd for change directory, and we're going to Control-V to paste the address into PowerShell. And you're going to see that it changes the directory. Now we're going to want to run it, so we're going to type Java -jar, so it runs the jar file, and we're going to go ahead and rename this so we can get a copy of it. It's a lot easier than typing that out. We're just going to control paste that. As we can see, I'm having problems putting spaces in the correct area. So once you got this in the right area, and it says Java -jar GuapSwap .1.0.0-beta.jar, go ahead and hit enter. It'll run it for the first time. It's going to ask you to create a secret storage password. This is similar to the password that you would use on like your wallet as a spending password, right? So we're going to go ahead and type in a password. I typed in 4 numbers. It doesn't actually show anything. That's very important, so make sure you type them in because you don't get any second chances on this. Make sure you type them in right. Alright, so after that we get a list of the different functions, right? So it gives us our cool GuapSwap. It tells you that I loaded the configuration and everything correct. So these are the different usages. So you're going to want to retype what you put in last time, or press the up arrow and it'll recall it, right? So you can run different commands. So if you type generate, it's going to go ahead and generate you a proxy address based on what was in your config file. And then you can go ahead and copy this into your miner, right? Now if we look at some of these other options, like say you wanted help with the generate, you don't understand it. You can see that -- help displays text on it. So if we had it typed with generate and then -- help, it's going to tell us that that generates a proxy address based on the file info. So it kind of just tells you what generate does. So if you don't know what some of these options do, you can just type -- help after it and it'll actually just tell you what they do. If you wanted to do a swap, you have 2 options, right? Swap one time, and then you would put in your proxy address, and we talked about this in the last video. I will go ahead and leave a link to that video over here in case you want to view the last walkthrough for the last one. So if you type swap one time and then you put your proxy address in, it would try and do a swap one time, right? And it's going to ask you for your secret password. Transaction initiated. And it's going to go ahead and give me this nice error because I didn't have anything to swap because I haven't done anything with that address. I haven't sent anything to it. So then instead of typing swap one time, if you just type swap and then you go ahead and put your address in, it's going to go ahead and ask you for your code again, and then it's going to try and automatically do a transaction. So it looks like it did get an error, but it still tried to do the automatic transaction. It says program will run indefinitely and not ask for confirmation to sign the transaction. So this will go ahead and continue to try and automatically attempt to do another swap every 60 minutes. So at this point you could just leave this running while you're mining. So as another thing that you could do, say you have decided, say if you've mined some erg to your proxy address, but then you went ahead and you decided that you did not want to get that token, right? You've been mining for a while, you've decided that you don't want it anymore, you can go ahead and type refund, and then you would go ahead and put your proxy address in once again, and it would try and refund the ergs that are held in the proxy address straight to you without doing any swap. Say you just decide you don't want that token anymore. Again, it would ask for your password, you'd enter it, and this is going to be a failed transaction once again because I haven't put anything into this proxy contract. But that is another option for you. So the final thing that I have to show you is the list, right? So you can go ahead and type in list after this command, if you can spell, and go ahead and list all proxy addresses at this, or list all boxes at this proxy address. So obviously I haven't mined anything to it, so it didn't give me anything. List is complete. And I am getting a nice little error for terminating the thread. That's okay, it's still a beta. So that concludes me walking you through all the different options that you can do with the latest version of GuapSwap. And in the next video, go ahead and look for it. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to set up a node so you can run GuapSwap Ronin at your leisure, if that's something you'd be interested in. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you'll hear from us next time we make a video. And go ahead and look at the links down below. You'll probably find our Twitter page and any other social media pages that you can follow GuapSwap on. Alright, thank you, and I will see you next time.